Welcome to A Lunch with Biggie, a podcast about small business and creatives sharing their stories and inspiring you. My guest today is motivated by her passion for fashion and the appetite for shopping and years of experience in the clothing world, which has led her to curate collections of trendy, playful styles that make you smile. Please welcome the founder of Ari Boutique, Ari Apostle. What's going on, Ari?
Hey, what's up?
How are we doing today?
We're good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having a lunch break with me. I usually like to ask, what's your go-to lunch or sandwich?
So my go-to sandwich is a pub sub from Publix. And listen to this crazy order. I get buffalo chicken on white bread, but I have them mix the buffalo sauce with blue cheese dressing and the chicken. They put it on the sandwich. You add blue cheese crumbles, uh, green peppers, and onions. Then you toast it. Take it out. Let it
Okay.
salt and pepper.
I love that. That's a good one. I like that. I like how you get that. Have you, out of curiosity, and just because I just saw this recently come up, I don't know how recent you've gotten a pub sub, but supposedly the new thing on the news I saw was that they added like a new version of a bread. So there's like a soft version of the bread out there now. So they
Okay.
have like new sub roll type thing that's like soft, like a soft version of it that people have said it's good. I'm gonna have to give it a try and see. So yeah, so I figure I'd let you know since I know you like that's a good one though. I love the fact that you toss the buffalo and the blue cheese, and then add the blue cheese crumbles to it. So I love that's a good one. So let's talk about your brand. So what inspired you to start Ari Boutique? Tell people a little bit about what they can expect, like when they go shop online or when they come see you at a pop-up. Tell people a little bit about that, and then also kind of why as you're telling your origin story. I know you moved from like New York to Orlando, so like tell people a little bit about like what brought you here, and then what led the evolution to do Ari's Boutique.
I moved down to Orlando in 2019 for the college program. I've always just felt so happy here in Florida. I grew up going to the theme parks, and this was always just such a safe, happy place for me. I created an Instagram account to share my Orlando adventures and outfits. Um, as I was doing this Instagram, it really clicked that when I was sharing a photo, it wasn't just sharing a photo, it was sharing a feeling. And I realized that I can turn my passion for fashion into more and let my audience also have that feeling me creating by me curating outfits for them and sharing that excitement with them.
So a few questions on that. One is when so my first one is it was it when you say you curated a style, I have to ask, just because obviously we live in Orlando, was it like a Disney bounding type style where you were like, I'm doing this, or was it just like a whole style that people were noticing? What was, explain to me what people were like, what gravitated people to the feeling of like, hey, I really like this, and asking you about it.
My style has always been more trendy and Pinterest style. I was never really into the Disney bounding, other than
That's
just maybe
great.
like a Mickey or Minnie. That just wasn't
Okay.
my I've always, I'm from New York, so I've had that New York fashion, and I brought that into Florida. So I combined
Okay.
the, I combined the New York fashion with Orlando weather, and it just kind of happened.
It just kind of blended. It just kind of blended. No, I love that. So was it at first where people when they would look at like, kind of look at your Instagram where they're like, "Hey, where did you get that?" And you're like, "Oh, well." And then you started note like you kind of saw a trend that people were like asking, "Where did you get like, where did you get your outfit?" Like the outfit of the day, the OTD, where it was that like a common thing and then you're like, "Oh, well, I see something here that that I can maybe create my own thing."
Yeah, I had a lot of people asking where things were from. I had a bunch of different affiliate links. I was being sent PR regarding, and people just wanted to know.
That I love that. So you started the brand in what? In 2021?
I started the brand in 2021 during COVID.
Okay. And then when you started it, what was it like? What were the first pieces that you started working on or doing or selling? Like what was the like how did it because I'm assuming it went like you did it in steps. So you kind when you did it, like was it first accessories? Was it first shirts, tops, bottoms? What was the how did it kind of progress when you're like, okay, yeah, this is I'm gonna start building it this way.
So I started with a full collection. I started with jewelry and clothing.
Awesome.
Um, it started from I wanted to have unique pieces that you couldn't just get anywhere. So I started gathering up everything. It took a couple of months to get everything for my first collection. But when I gathered everything, I launched it as soon as I could.
Is there a theme to each collection?
Yes, I do try to coordinate it with the different seasons and what's going on. I just had a Valentine's Day collection. I'm working on a spring collection right now. Then we'll go into summer.
I love that. What would you say is your inspiration? I know, like you said, Pinterest, New York fashion. Is there other places that you get your inspiration from? And then when you get inspired, how do you make those things happen? Like, are you creating some of these things? Are you just finding boutiques and stores that you're like being able to purchase to curate your own? How are you? How's that work?
Honestly, I really don't look at other small businesses. That's not my journey. I don't like comparing myself. So I really
Yeah.
try to stay away from other small boutiques. I get most of my inspiration from different like influencers, Pinterest, or even the outside world and like seeing the different parts of nature, honestly. Um,
Do you also go to I think I've heard that you've done like fashion weeks and stuff like that. Is that true? You've gone to like things like that to kind of see what trends or what's happening?
yes, yeah, I do go and visit New York, New York often to go to different markets and to do buying trips. Um, and see what happens up there. I try to stay connected with the fashion world and seeing what the new trends are and keep up with that.
Speaking of trends and things like that, what are you seeing for when people are listening? Is there like a trend? Like, are you seeing a trend? Because obviously, you being into fashion, I'm always intrigued by people that kind of see like, oh, I could see this is becoming popular. Is there a big trend now that may be something that you're seeing coming back in 2025? Obviously, there's some things that are like always classics, but do you see anything that's new that you're like, wow, I'm noticing a trend more and more that people are doing this now or wearing more of this?
So, I would say colors are where I like to look the most. Right now, this butter yellow is very popular, and it's going to continue to be colorful. It's going to continue to be popular as we're
Okay.
moving on. I really like that leopard has come back. I don't see that going anywhere.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a classic. How difficult is it for you being a small boutique because you're also competing with like the Sheens, is I think it's called Sheen, and the Temus of the world. How difficult is that? And then how do you kind of counterbalance that?
So with like Shein and Temu, those businesses have a huge budget to buy whatever they want. The difference with me is definitely the quality, or the difference with a small business is the quality and the personal touch you get with that small business. When you are shopping with a small business, you are buying from an individual, a family, not from a corporation.
Yeah.
And I think that's just so important to support your community. And
No, I agree 100%. And that's one of the big things. That's why I kind of wanted to ask you, because I'm like, it's got to be so difficult when it comes to something like that. Very similar to like me, you said not only sell online, but you also sell in a lot of in person pop ups. So I wanted to kind of ask you a little bit about, like, explain or tell folks about like the markets that you sell at, and then like what like, I guess what do you love about selling at pop-ups, because it's a lot of work, but there is some gratification and great things that you get out of it when you get to do something in person, and get to interact with customers.
so, finding markets, honestly, it's gotten easier once you get into it. I think you start seeing where your audience is and the community and where your people are. To get started, I don't know, even remember how I got started with markets, honestly. It just kind of happened. And then I just did more and more and more until I decided like where my people are. I would say my favorite thing about market is talking to my customer and talking to them about my pieces, them telling me what they love, what they don't love, and really just getting that one-on-one feeling or experience, that
Yeah.
one-on-one experience. Yeah.
No, I think that's my favorite part as well, being able to kind of do that. um I know I know at this point in time, you went from the time you started in 2021 to now. I believe you're doing this full time. Can you talk a little bit about some of the challenges that come with doing this? I see you online all the time posting great reels and things like that. And so we'll talk about that as well. But I wanted to know just a little bit about what are some of the challenges, and what are some of the most rewarding parts of doing this bit full time now.
So I think the biggest challenge is that I do absolutely everything alone. I started alone and I'm still alone. And just wearing all the different hats to owning that business, it's more than just buying inventory and selling. It's so much more than that. I couldn't even explain to you my day by day because every single day is different. And you understand completely.
What's the most rewarding part about that?
The most the most rewarding part about it is that I did it all by myself. That it's at the end of the day, that's my project, it's my work, and I'm so proud of myself at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I commend you on that. The other thing that I wanted to chat with you about, and I is you do a really good job on social. You do a really good job at like posting things. And I kind of wanted to talk about two things about that. I wanted to see if you had any tips or tricks for people, because I know sometimes people get in their heads about being on camera, and like you have no problem with that. And obviously it's kind of, a lot of times it's because, like you said, you're by your it's just you. So I'm just kind of curious, do you have any like I don't know if you get in your head sometimes and like you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, but you know that there's so many benefits to being on camera and like doing reels and like showing off what your merchandise is. Do you have any tips or advice when it comes to social and things like that?
Social media has always been a little difficult for me. I think the more you do it, the more comfortable you become with it, and it becomes more of not like I have to do that. It just becomes like natural. Like, oh, I'm just gonna film it because it's just automatic, and it takes time. It takes a lot of
Yeah.
time.
Do you somehow factor that in? Like, do you try to figure out like schedule it? Like, is it one of those things where you're sometimes like, I have to get some of these things done, like so I'll batch a bunch of videos and stuff like that. Like, I've been trying to think of how I'm gonna. I need to do more of it, so that's why I'm asking, because I'm like I'm trying to figure out myself like what is a way for me to be able to do it along with everything else that I do. How do I create more content to be able to share with people about what's going on behind the scenes and things like that?
I definitely would recommend batching your content. It's easier for the individual that way. If you just do everything on one day instead of, every single day getting ready, making a plan and everything. If you just do it for one day, that's something I would recommend. Also finding like a buddy has been easier for me when I'm going out and I'm taking pictures. It becomes more of a fun experience than like, oh, I have to take pictures for social media, because that's not fun at all. It's like you want to have fun with that.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with that. And I do agree. If you get a buddy, and I've thought of that, like doing it where like maybe you're two small businesses or you have a friend who likes taking pictures and you'll be like, hey, can you take pictures of me while I'm even doing mundane, what people may be like for you, may be like, I got to pack some orders, which is great, but it's like, it's hard to do because you're trying to pack orders. But if someone else was doing it for you, taking pictures and was doing, capturing that stuff, it's great content to have. So I love that advice, about finding a buddy to be able to do those things. When you're not, so when you're not doing markets, not doing, I'm like, what do you do on your spare time? Like, what's the fun things that that Ari likes to do when she's not doing something fashion related or doing stuff for the shop, or selling at a market?
Honestly, I'm a workaholic. I am like always thinking about what to do next for the boutique. Um, if I'm not at a market, I'm probably thinking about a new collection, or I'm shopping for new new pieces or accessories. Um, I don't really even do anything but work at this point, but it's fun.
Okay.
It doesn't feel like
Okay.
work.
Hey, if you're having fun, I love that. I love the fact that this is like it's fun. It's fun. So it's like it's still a love and a passion and it's not considered work. So I noticed that when we were selling that, one of the big things, obviously there was like a lot of different things. I saw some jewelry, I saw some tops, but the one thing that I kept seeing a lot of people gravitate towards was the dog. You had like these dog sweaters. So I was wondering like what inspired you to do that, and then what and like, because I even saw like you have like inside tags or like custom personalized inside tags and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to know about that, like those touches, but then also what inspired you to do the sweaters.
So my tagline is "Style that makes you smile," and there is nothing that makes me smile more than my cat. And I feel like people can totally relate that with their own animal. Golden Retriever is one of the most popular dog breeds, and that's where I started with my Golden Retriever sweater. I usually set up around Lake Eola, which is a very popular area for dogs. And as time was going on, I decided to bring in another dog. So I brought in my dachshund sweater. And as time goes on, I'm just going to continue bringing in more different dog breeds and different animals.
For sure, I'm expecting a cat version of your cat as a sweater. I mean, come on now.
I know.
That's just asking for your cat
Yeah,
to be one.
I know. I can't believe I don't even have a cat design yet, but I
Well,
have a cat.
there you go. That inspiration right there. That's to get you to figure out and to do a cat design. There's got to be enough good things to say for for people to get gravitated towards to do that. What do you I know you enjoy doing full collections, but is there one thing that you really like you kind of like I really love like when I'm assuming you like it when it all kind of comes together. But like is there one that you gravitate more towards or that like you like more the jewelry accessories, more the clothing, and the colors? Like, what is there anything that you kind of you're like, wow, like that's really my favorite? Like, because for me, my favorite is coming up with a concept of a design and then having that design happen. I mean, obviously, yes, I love seeing it in person and feeling it, but once you have, and I don't know if you're like this, but sometimes I have ideas, they come up and I make them. And as soon as I make them, I'm like, okay, on to the next idea. So I'm kind of like, I'm kind of curious, like, is there a favorite part of this that you enjoy the most? Kind of picking or deciding or doing or creating. What is it?
I would say my favorite thing is to put everything together and actually create a full outfit with that. I would say I enjoy shopping for clothes the most, but my jewelry is has been really popular, and I feel a little better with keeping the jewelry and like wearing it all the time.
Okay. I
Mhm.
like that. And then I know one of the things that you also enjoy doing from when we've talked and I saw you interacting with your customers, you love being able to kind of like help style them as well. Like if they kind of like, oh, what do you think of this? And kind of looking and kind of working with them on things may gravitate towards, or sometimes maybe even be outside the box. Cause that's got to be something, right? Where you kind of sometimes there's sometimes that you're like, well, I don't really usually wear that, but sometimes you may actually just because you don't usually wear it doesn't mean you may not actually look good in it. Maybe you should give it a try. So, is that something that you sometimes kind of tell people to kind of get outside their box or outside their comfort zone?
Yeah, it's definitely important to get out of your comfort zone, and I feel like fashion is one of the easiest ways to do that. However, at the end of the day, I think it's really important to be confident in what you are wearing. Um, so if that means just putting on a pair of sweatpants, I think that's what you should do.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
I agree 100% with that. I tell my wife and my daughter whenever they ask me what I think of them in their clothes. And obviously I'm a married man for 20 years, so I learned, but the number one thing I've figured out, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, um, if you're not comfortable in your what it doesn't matter like how good someone thinks you look in it, if you're not comfortable in it, then you're not it's going to show. And that's like the key to the whole thing is like be comfortable in what you're wearing and like what you're wearing because if that like you said style with a smile, you want to be able to smile when you're wearing it, not only when it like you want it to show. So it's one thing that I appreciate. It's amazing what a nice what a article of clothing can do to you, when you feel comfortable and confident in it, right?
Yeah, honestly. And when I was younger, I was very shy and quiet, and having that fashion to express myself and to feel confident in really helped me build who I am.
I love that. Is there like a signature, like what's your like usual go-to, like do you have like a go-to product or a go-to item that of your own collection that you wear most often?
Probably some of our sweatpants and sweaters. I'm always in something comfy.
Nice. I love that. What advice do you have for someone wanting to start something?
Um, Honestly, and it's probably so annoying to hear, but like just get started and just do it and be open to everything. You can learn from everybody. There is a lesson in everything. and to be adaptable with what you do. You're always going to have to change, especially like being a business owner. Like every single day is different. And you have to be able to adapt to that.
When you started the idea, the concept in 2021 to where we are in 2025, what has been the biggest change, would you say, from when you started to like pivot or change that you felt like you maybe had to make? Because sometimes the audience is what, your customer calls what they want. Was there anything like that you had to experience?
Um, Maybe not so much with like a customer. I think maybe the biggest thing is when I started the boutique, I had a full-time job, and switching over to making the boutique my full-time job and figuring out a schedule that works with me has probably been the hardest thing. Um, yeah. Yeah.
I would say that's pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say that's pretty big. Where can people follow you? Where can they check out your products, or come see you to shop in person? Where can they get all that information from?
So the best place to get that information is my website, shopbyari.com. That will tell you all my events, give you my social media, etc., etc.
Okay. I love it. And it'll be all in the show notes. So you'll be able to actually see that. And you'll be able to get all that information on there. And plus, obviously, you'll see it on the Instagram, because she'll be tagged on everything. But Ari, I really appreciate you coming on and being on with me. I love what you're doing. I think, doing just kind of, I'm a big fan of, I'm a big fan of fashion in the sense of I get very comfortable in certain things. So like I love when I see people creating and curating collections that other people can wear and kind of like, hey, this might work for me. And I love seeing, I really enjoyed seeing the people coming into your booth and coming and shopping and seeing them interact with you. And so I thought this would be a great time to kind of chat with you. So I do appreciate it. Thank you. That's our show for today. Thank you to Ari, from Buy Shop, by Ari, Shop by Ari, boutique. I wanted to make sure that everyone please check them out. You'll see all the information on the links and everything in the show notes. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to tell your friends. Definitely, if you want to support my brand, check out Deli Fresh Threads. But thank you. Until next time, keep eating sandwiches and follow your passion.